Hello everyone, my name's Ian Badger, and I'm going to be talking about understanding English however it is spoken. Okay, so where are we going in this talk? This is the main content. Challenges, okay, major challenges in listening, and the value of using authentic listening. And when I'm talking about authentic listening, I'm talking about truly authentic listening where everything that we're doing is not scripted. We're just finding people around the world. I'll be talking about that more. And I'll introduce the listening series and show some sample recordings. In fact, I must make this bit of the talk as short as possible because I want to get on to that because there's some really interesting stuff there. Okay, and that's really just stating in one simple slide what I feel. The world of business is that there's a massive range of people, and that's what people need to work on. Okay, that doesn't mean to say that my version of English are kind of fairly clear English, whether it's my boring Southern British English or Edinburgh English or an American English. It should be taught as a model to be clear because I want to improve clarity all the time. Okay. This was a quote I found from Simon Sweeney, which I found quite interesting. Basically, he more or less said what I've just said, that it's extremely important to have authentic materials. But then he said that discovering this supply is not actually easy, and he made a very important comment there, which is that most organisations, let alone individuals, would be reluctant to have their meetings, discussions, presentations, phone calls, and social events recorded for classroom use by publishers. Okay, schools or even teachers, this is an area of my interest all the time, and this is an issue that's come up always. These are two books which Collins has published recently. The English for Business listening on that side was published last year, and this one is actually my first book that I've done for general English. Is being published in May, and I was just told actually that the one on the left has just been shortlisted for a British Council Elton. So I think that we're also doing something which a lot of teachers and students around the world are interested in. I was told to say that, so sorry. Nothing in these materials is scripted. Everything is authentic. And the idea is behind this is to sensitize learners to the kind of language which they're really going to come across. Okay? And then we get into the real features, because if you're just doing things which have been scripted, then you're not actually looking at the real features of language in many cases. But once you do look at real language, as those videos showed, then that's a different issue. So we have a range of accents. Sentences are fragmented. Okay? It's very strange to try and script all this stuff. Okay? If it comes from the real thing, it's completely different. There are full starts. There's standard, non-standard grammar. There are mistakes. That's what happens. Now, that doesn't mean to say that within the book we want to leave people with incorrect English or non-standard English. But the key is, and this is a very interesting issue, is to analyze the language which we've got and just help people to understand it. If there are mistakes or if there are difficulties that people would have with a perceived incorrect pronunciation, then we will gloss it and deal with it. That will give you an idea of the range of materials which we've had. We divide them into five sections, and then within that there are 2 or 3 recordings. And you can see, for example, in the first section, Everyday Business Communication, from Northern Ireland and from England, from East Coast US, Indian, English, Scottish, Irish, Indian, Canadian, English, Chinese, Thai. So again, just taking a very, very wide range, and one will see the same kind of thing when we look towards the other book as well. And I'd like to give you an example of one which I think this is actually taken from at least in the first unit, but it gives a flavour of the type of thing that we're wanting to do. We put this in this recording at the beginning because it also illustrates how we feel native speakers or people with accents also, it's a two-way street, that they also need to moderate and help the listener. And I'm very interested in helping the listener. It should be 2 ways. But also it is an example of Northern Ireland English.
Certainly 30 years after leaving Northern Ireland, I would never accept that I'm anything except Northern Irish. I think the accent is mellowed. I mean, The intonation has probably not changed very much. I speak with quite a rising intonation, which has actually caused some problems with people who, at the end of a telephone conversation, when I've said, okay, well, I'll talk to you later, thought that I was asking another question and paused. So I'd try and say goodbye, and they'd say, what did you ask? And this is really something very specific to do with the nature of my local English accent from Northern Ireland. It's very typical. There's a joke in my hometown that you don't need a road map to get around, you need the score. People say I speak very clearly, and I think it's because, you know, like Americans, we have an R. We don't drop the R as in received pronunciation. And also I think the vowels are quite round and quite strong. And I think over the years I've actually modified the way I speak. I've slowed the speed of delivery down quite a bit.
So we think that's a very interesting recording also to explore with our students, again, about modifying the accent, okay, as well. And for them to be aware. I mean, I've done work with native speaker managers as well, and who are not being well understood. And I think just that kind of message is a very useful one. Also for near-native, one of the problems we have with our Russian and Finns is that some of our Russian speakers are extremely good. They're too good. Or they're too good in the way that they're very, very fluent. That doesn't mean they're too good in terms of their communication skills. They have a slightly unusual intonation for the Finnish speakers. They speak extremely quickly and they can't be understood. That said, their English is extremely good. They would get fantastic marks in their school exams. Okay, so these are all things to bear in mind. I think that's an interesting one. Right, something rather different. This is really, I think, also to demonstrate how even if your English is good, you can be good, whatever good is. You can be more easily misunderstood than compared with someone whose English is perceived as poor. Hey, what do you think of these? Some voicemails.
Hi Marie, it's Katrina calling. I'm just calling about the meeting we have scheduled for next Thursday at 3 o'clock. Unfortunately, I have another meeting that's come into my schedule that's on the other side of town, so I'm going to have to reschedule for another time. I hope you're free around 4:30. If you could give me a call back, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks very much. Bye.
How's that? Pretty good. I think it's a pretty good model, actually, of the kind of way to, leave a message. Where's she from? Canada? Canada. Canada.
Must have emigrated.
Okay. So anyway, how about if I can find my mouse? How about this one?
Hello, Paul. I'm sorry I cannot pick you up today, but you can go and meet me at the company. You just easily walk to the main road and catch the Sky train. Yeah, then you buy the ticket to the, I forgot the place, to the Piatai Junction, and then you take off, and then you may take the bus if you want to, the bus number 882. Just tell them the company name and they would know. But if you prefer the taxi.
Oh, sorry, I've gone back. Where's she from? Thailand. Yeah. Okay. Okay. But what about the message? Did you understand the meaning? What she said? Yeah, it's an interesting. When I played, I mean, just comparing. When I played, let me play one more, and then we can actually assess the. This one.
Oh, hi, it's Nick. Terribly sorry, I know we've got an appointment at 3 o'clock, but I'm currently sat on the M25 doing no miles an hour, and it's 2:30, so I've got about an hour to run to get to you, so I'm going to be about half an hour late. You know my mobile number, so give me a call if you need to talk to me.
How about that? Right, okay, now from having used this material with learners, who's the easiest to understand? Probably the second one. It's very, very slow and clear, and there are all kinds of things that she's taking off rather than getting off from the train and things like that. But actually, the message is there. The fact that Nick sat on the M25 doing no miles an hour. You know, I think it's also a message in that that kind of thing is not necessarily very easy to understand, certainly for an intermediate level student. Okay. Now, I think there's quite a lot of mileage in actually discussing, you know, what makes for clear communication and this type of thing in these types of voicemails. But anyway, let me move on. Okay, and now just a quick note. This book is not yet published, but there are a couple of books on the stand, and this has been written for general use rather than specifically for business, so I'm sure business people will also be very interested in it, for B1 to B2. And I think we have more native speakers on this one. There are non-native speakers as well, okay, but they're not such difficult non-native speakers to understand. But again, the same idea of sensitizing people. And I thought I'd give also some examples of the types of thing that we've got. I haven't written down where these people come from, so I can also ask you to say. Okay, so listen to this one first.
Yeah, I mean, I find it easy to be, it's quite nice to be an Indian in the UK because in some ways we get the best of both worlds. We're able to enjoy our culture and Indians are quite religious, so we have a place of worship where we live. I'm a Sikh, so we have a Sikh temple where we live and we go and participate. We try and go there regularly on weekends to participate in the community gathering. And on festivals, it's nice because there's a large enough Indian population in the UK for it to be a celebration. I think Ken Livingstone made, one of our Sikh New Years is actually celebrated in Trafalgar Square every year in the spring. It's called Baisakhi. So I think he really took a step.
Let me stop you for a moment. And again, what we've got, okay, so what do? We've got some very nice recordings, I think. And now we're looking at general English, okay? So, this is a kind of interesting text that can be used in all kinds of situations. But again, what we've been able to in the book is also take and help with some of the cultural references. There is no reason why someone from Tashkent needs to know that Ken Livingstone was the former mayor of London. Okay, there's no reason at all. So, but they might be interested, maybe, but probably not. But those are the kind of things to understand that kind of recording. That's the type of thing where we'll